All right. Welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast
Turned web show.
turned ICTV show
Turned blog.
turned back to a podcast where you can hear all the latest in television and entertainment news with two hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and the other one is
Mike Ladue. I am the Mr. Credit to Society to your Jesse Pinkman.
Ooh, there you go, Mike. But that means we're technically the same person.
Well, we're dual redundant.
Look how all that works.
Yeah, it's like full circle.
It's perfect here. You know what I was just thinking about? I think our intro is a little outdated because I know we say everything that we are, but I realized just actually today that we say, you know, we're a blog, we're a TV show, whatever, but then we say where you can hear all the latest, but we don't say where you can read all the latest or see all the latest or think about all the latest. Should we start doing that next week where it's like, you know, where you can hear all the latest and you have to say the next one and we go back and forth? You want to make this intro just the size of a 30-minute podcast?
Why don't you just kill yourself, Walt?
Whoa. Okay, Marie, this is getting... We're going to get to that because I felt that was very uncalled for from Marie. Because, I mean, come on, Marie. What did Walt ever do to you personally? Well, actually...
Nothing. Did he do anything to her? Nothing. Did they ever interact?
Not really. Maybe once or twice when I think he said, like, she's having Skylar's having an affair, but...
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, she's been getting off scot-free here, but... Anywho, here we are for our weekly Breaking Bad breakdown and a bad podcast where we're going to look at episode 511, Confessions.
These are my confessions. I promised I wouldn't do that to myself, but I just did. So I may... Don't say confessions again because I'll sing other parts of that.
Oh, my... I don't know if I can make that promise here. I mean, I might just confess my love for this episode. I mean, it started off slow... But I think after there was a small spark, and then this episode really started blazing. You see what I did there, Mike? Because of the end there?
I don't get it.
Because Jesse with the gasoline, I think a little spark's going to occur soon, and then we're going to have a firestorm in Walter's life here all over his
I see.
beautiful house at wherever he lives. He repeated a few times, and I completely...
Yeah, which was in the pilot, too. I just rewatched the pilot with my stepbrother because I wanted to get him hooked on it. And if I hadn't rewatched, I wouldn't have remembered that callback. But it was very, very cool to see him filming a whole new confession, this time with pants.
Yeah, with pants. It was a lot more controlled, I feel like. He got the tripod out. He wasn't shaking. He wasn't nervous. He's getting some production value, you know. This isn't a little handheld camera. He has well, it probably was the same exact camera, but he had nice lighting, backlight.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah. And I read somewhere that Bryan Cranston actually just memorized that whole thing, didn't have any cue cards or anything, and just... He did it like 3 or 4 times through, and it was glorious, just like all Bryan Cranston-related minutia.
All right. So, Mike, I'm going to start things off with probably the toughest question of the episode. If you were second in command to a drug empire in Albuquerque, New Mexico...
This is an if, right? If.
Yeah,
okay.
If
I was.
Did I forget that word? Sorry about that. So, yeah, if you were a drug empire kingpin here and you were given the chance to restart your life, where would you flee? Florida or Alaska?
Reminds me, in Weeds, they picked Pittsburgh. Well, that's what Shane wanted to do. Well, I think we've talked before about how Florida has terrible Miami Metro.
Yes.
But Alaska has Sarah Palin, and I could see Russia from my house.
So, yeah, so they probably have about the same level of police authority and know-how.
Yeah, where's AMC's small town security? Is that Alaska? I feel like they're from Alaska.
Either that or, like, Fargo, South Dakota or something.
Yeah.
Like.
I'll just stay in Albuquerque and go to jail.
Neither... See, at first I was like, okay, Florida, obviously, nice and warm, you know, stuff like this. But then I liked what Jesse was thinking with Alaska, you know. Sure, you know, like I like snow. I could bundle up. There's igloos, snowball fights, hot chocolate I could drink in my...
it's like Ithaca.
Yeah. And then...
It's like if you had to pick Ithaca or L.A., well, you're going to pick L.A.
Well, yeah. And this is just a random fact I know about Alaska. Don't ask me why, but I think there's actually a rebate to like live there because so few people want to live in Alaska. I feel like
So they'll just pay you?
that the government will like pay you like a monthly thing to live in Alaska.
I love it. I'm going.
All right, there you go, Mike. Only if you are a
packing
drug
up the
kingpin.
drug empire and
Yeah.
moving to Alaska.
Perfect. Well, so this episode started confessions. I was waiting.
I'm
for you.
singing it in my head.
All right. So this episode started with Todd giving a phone call to Walt about how there's a change in management in the Empire business after last week's massacre, with Lydia and a hatch. Now, he's telling the train story at some diner, some cafe somewhere outside of New Mexico, which was the same exact story. He had to actually shoot a kid over for witnessing, but he actually uses Mr. White's name. Now, I just got to clarify with you, Mike, because I wasn't sure. Are these the same guys from the prison when they had to kill 10 people on Mike's list? Are these the same guys?
I believe so. I saw the guy had a Nazi tattoo on his neck, and I believe they were white power people. So I believe it's his uncle Jack or something.
Okay.
And yeah, they're making their way towards Albuquerque. And what was I gonna say? I thought it was interesting how he didn't mention killing the kid.
Yeah.
He told this whole story, and also he didn't say anything about killing a child.
He glossed over that detail where
Right,
it
it's
makes
kind of
him look bad. But I mean, at first I thought like he's spilling the beans. He may, instead of saying Heisenberg, which he probably should have. He said, oh, Mr. White, you did this. Oh, and this guy named Jesse. Like at first I'm like,
I didn't even catch that.
he's saying all this stuff, but I guess Walt has met these guys in the past, so I guess that's okay. But at the same time, he is kind of slipping up. He's just saying these stories wherever he wants. Could this be one of the nails in his coffin? Because he is heading back to New Mexico.
Right, we're just getting little like one scene per episode of these guys getting closer and closer, and something's got to go down. I think it's either his nail in the coffin or his saving grace, as we said last week. I don't know what it's gonna be. He's either gonna frame it on them or, maybe they'll come and help him out. But I think right now he's in trouble. I just like how the legend of Heisenberg is getting propagated. To hear them almost talk about it. It's like a clip show almost. Like, I was like, I've seen this episode, but just to hear him, rehashing all the great things, it was really. I don't even. Was that, you think that was some subliminal Emmy campaigning, trying to get people excited, to remember that episode as they're filling out their Emmy ballots?
And that's not a bad idea, Mike. I like where that's going there, because it's getting to that time where they're recalling that episode and how great it was.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
That was my first idea.
But yeah, speaking of awkward diner scenes, we had another one. I mean, between last week's Am I Under Arrest, the start of this episode, Vince Gilligan really likes just these awkward diners. And we had, at a restaurant, we had Walter, Skylar, Hank, Marie. They all try to sit down, maybe get some guacamole, but no.
No guacamole for you.
Hey, they're not getting any, because even though probably Walter would like to, just have a nice little dinner and stuff, Hank is just really on this Heisenberg thing. He wants justice for who knows why. Why does he, whatever. But Walter's trying to get Hank to drop it, especially because, poor Walter Jr. and his reactions to all this. He just found out about the cancer. But, after that after that reason doesn't work, Walt wonder what he has to do. And that leads to my question. Mike, what does Walt have to do for you to forgive him?
What does he have to do to me for me to forgive him?
I mean, Marie wants him to kill himself, which I find very extreme. What do you think Walt needs to do to you or to the town of Albuquerque in the United States of America to forgive for everything he's done in these last 5.2 seasons?
5.2.
Yeah.
I would like him to tell Jesse about Jane, because that's something I want him to do. I want him to I don't know, use some of that money, build something cool. I don't care. I don't need to forgive Walt.
Oh yeah.
So no, I don't. What about you?
Well, you got me thinking about this money thing. How about he donates the money and it makes like a center for kids who don't
read
know
good?
Yeah, no, can't do chemistry good. Can't do chemistry good. And it's in his honor, and they get to teach him, the basics of chemistry and magnets and science. I think that'd be a great thing he could give back to the community.
Yeah, I do think he should pay, give the school back all the Bunsen burners and the flasks and stuff that he stole from them, because that's not cool.
That's the thing that's irking me the most.
Probably build a new nursing home as well for the one he blew up.
Oh, okay. See, I think if he just does these little small acts of community service, pays back his dues, I think he's good. I think
so too.
Clean slate.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah, okay. A gray slate. But he does leave the table with a little DVD confession, Mike. He's confessing everything, but it turns out this whole time we thought Heisenberg was Walter White. We were wrong, Mike. Vince Gilligan was pulling the wool over our eyes. It's actually Hank. Did you know this?
That was amazing.
Hank is Heisenberg.
That scene was so brilliant, and I loved how, especially like with the money, as we saw Marie and Hank deal with, like that was his ace in the hole, and that seals the deal, and that gets him out completely, and that was just so brilliant on the part of the writers and of the act. Everything about that scene was perfection, and automatically made that episode an A no matter what was going to follow it, because it was just perfect.
Yeah, for me it was very slow up until that point, especially these last the last 2 episodes we saw. I'm like, they were just so action packed, and until we got to that point, and like he started off the tape, and I'm like, oh my god, is he gonna say this right now? And then he just says, Heisenberg is Hank, or however he said it. I was just like, wow, like, all right, like,
and it all fit. It all made perfect sense, and like that he can completely tell to the DEA, and there will be no denying it.
Yeah, because I mean, at the same time, how crazy it would be that a DEA agent was pressuring his chemistry teacher thing. I mean, thing about it also is Walt is a gentleman, probably on the school's PTA back in the day when he was a chemistry teacher. A nice guy giving back to the community. Has a son that has a disability. He's dying of cancer. I mean, it's like, this great guy, this just nice guy, like,
Likeable.
Who's gonna say exactly, like Walt and Hank? I mean, either one of them could be Heisenberg. Anyone, Walter Jr. could be Heisenberg. Huell could be Heisenberg. Anyone in Albuquerque, I mean, could be Heisenberg. I mean, with that,
probably not Marie.
Yeah. I mean, she does steal a lot of stuff. They could be like, well, you stole those pairs of shoes in episode 1 of.
You took that spoon.
So then you stole the methylamine. That would be Miami Metro's logic, I feel like.
Right.
So
just follow her for 4 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, and I think he did a great job too. Like he kept calling himself a coward, and he even used. I found like this quote that was great from it, where he's like, Hank organized. I guess you call it a hit. Like he was questioning, like, is that what you call it? Is that the correct lingo? I'm not even sure on the lingo,
right,
let alone
being
how to
such
do something like this. Yeah, but I mean, that was just perfect to see Bryan Cranston. Acting as obviously Walter White, acting as someone who has to save his life there. It was just perfect to see, I thought.
Yeah, it could have been a little better white balance, though.
Oh, okay, yeah.
On the DVD.
Yeah, I was surprised he didn't use iDVD. Like, he even knows how to use technology there, because, like, at the end, it was just a black screen. It didn't go back to one of those cheesy template that you would see, like, with iMovie or something. Like, he even knows all about Final Cut Pro.
He's got some video editing.
There you go. Let's see here. So I was pumped to see last week that Jesse and Hank, at the end of last week's episode, being ready to be interrogated, being ready to confess something in this confession episode. And but after this week, first couple of minutes, Hank quickly spills the beans about Walter, and which breaks Jesse's trance. Saul comes right in before anybody could say anything. Now, did you find this as a quote-unquote even cop-out? You see, because they're cops and they're copping out? Is that, do you think that was, like a writer's, an easy way to get out of the corner that, oh, Saul Goodman's here?
No, because Jesse wasn't going to talk no matter what.
Yeah.
Jesse, I don't think, was going to say anything, and I think it was good that Saul came. And it delayed it long enough to get the ball rolling. Everything else in the episode needed that to happen, because now where we end the episode, Jesse is in a place of, I'm sure he, will call up Hank and say whatever he's got to say.
Yeah.
So No, I don't think it was I mean, it was, obviously not a realistic moment. It was, a dramatic written for television moment,
Yeah.
but it didn't bug me in that it felt unnatural to anything else in the Breaking Bad universe.
All right, because originally, because my question was, is Jesse ever gonna spill, for the immunity that Hank was promising before Saul barged in? And originally, I would have said no, especially because, immunity is not gonna solve any of his problems, the guilt he has over all the things he's done and seen. But now, I mean, we'll get to it more later. That he knows about the ricin. Now I'm not sure. I mean, because now it's like he'll do anything I think it'd take to
Settle the score.
exactly. And but I did think it was interesting to note that his first action when he finds out, well, I mean, obviously with the whole Saul thing, which we'll get to, is he goes to try to burn down Walter's house before he even goes to Hank. Because I mean, I could think it'd be much easier. I mean, gas prices are through the roof.
Well, he's got a lot of money stocked up.
Okay, I mean, that is true.
He's pretty loose with the money.
But, like, he's just cruising around town. He's going to throw gasoline in the house. It might be much easier. I mean, now he's going to be that immunity he was promised. Who knows if that's going to even hold up now? Because now he has arson on his resume, on his rap sheet.
Definitely the work of a flamer.
But
there's always money in the White household.
That is true. You got to check the laundry room,
the
and the
crawl
washer
space.
dryer. Exactly.
There's always money in the crawl space.
But anyways, he didn't go to Hank first, and I feel like that could have just been a lot easier, a lot of skin off his back, just to be like, okay, as soon as he finds out, calls up Hank, I'm ready now. Like,
I don't think he was thinking rationally. I think
Yeah.
he was, hell bent on destruction, and it was definitely a lot more exciting to see that happen. You can't end the one episode of Hank going in to talk to Jesse, and then the next one Jesse going in to talk to Hank.
Yeah.
It needed a little more oomph, and that oomph was oomph-tastic and super exciting oomph.
Definitely. I was thinking though that we almost were getting an episode a la Homeland's Q&A of last season when this episode, ended last week. I thought it might have been a Hank and Jesse in that interrogation room for
Like a bottle episode?
Almost like a bottle episode. 'Cause we know Vince likes those bottle episodes where it's just in like an underground room for long periods of time here. Because especially with last week, it focused, obviously it's Breaking Bad, it's Walter White's show, but it focused so much on Walt last week, and we just got a little bit at the beginning of Jesse, a little bit at the end. So I thought maybe this week almost would have flopped it. We're going to get, Walt at the beginning and end, and then we got the meat and potatoes is Jesse and Hank. But what do I know? I was wrong.
I think they're just subverting expectations. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think you can make a really logical prediction, and they'll laugh at it and say, "Oh, yep, that's what we first thought of," and then we thought of a million other things, and then I gotta say, so it's it's the beauty of the show. They're gonna keep the ball rolling and spinning it. It's like one of those like pinball machines. That's the ride they're taking us on, and we're probably gonna end up in the gutter at the end emotionally.
Yeah, who knows where we're going to end up. I think I saw this on Twitter, and I can't remember who tweeted it, unfortunately, but they said, did they hire the team from Mad Men who does next week on Mad Men to do these Breaking Bad things now? Because I watched the next week on Breaking Bad. I have no idea what's going to happen. They just show random push-ins of each character, and then they take a one sentence that we've either seen or have not seen, and they played over it, and I have no idea what's going to happen.
I don't know. I didn't watch. After the whole Low Winter Sun fiasco, I just assumed they wouldn't air it, and I had my boy JT's VMA performance
yes.
that aired immediately. Like right when I flipped the channel, it was JT
Perfect, they
coming
knew.
up singing "Take Back the Night." So the timing couldn't have been better for me. So I didn't care about next week on Breaking Bad. I will see it next week.
I watched it today right before this podcast, and I'm ready for something. Just give me a little fun, and even because you could tell probably most of the stuff was filmed before, because if Jesse goes through with him lighting up the house, there was a lot of shots of the characters inside the house with it all being nice and with all the props and stuff. So I was hoping we actually would see Walt Jr. in the house, at the
Burn
table
him up.
as Jesse. Well, I mean, not to get burned, but like as Jesse like busted in, was throwing the gasoline everywhere. You just see like Walter Jr. just eating, like, hello,
Oh.
like what's going on here? Like I think, because I mean, have those two ever met? 'Cause, I mean, finally we got
I don't think
Skylar and
so.
Jesse, like kind of like last season, the dining room. That was a great moment,
Yeah.
but it's almost like a Lucille 2 and George Michael.
Right.
I've never met the woman. It's
Yeah.
I would like to see the chemistry between those two characters.
The chemistry. I see what you did there.
Oh, I completely did on an accident,
That was
but
an accidental pun.
I'm keeping it. I like
Right.
it.
Chalk it up to Dave.
All right, one for me. All right, but a lot of this episode, to get back on to confessions here, a lot of this episode explored Walt's alternative motives. I feel like when he's
Ulterior?
yeah, I don't. I think I spelled it wrong in my Word document. I think I'll correct it to alternate, but I wanted ulterior.
It's
Yeah.
Ulterior. I believe. I think it's ulterior motives.
Well, that's what I
That
that's
might
what I
have been your
want.
problem.
I am alternating my words.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like Gina Marie on Big Brother.
Okay. Let's not compare me to that. All right.
Okay, I gotta have a
Anyway.
compromisation.
Okay, you cockroach. We're gonna get back to this here.
All right,
Walt,
Erin.
Walt is telling, Walt Jr. about his cancer to get him away from Marie and the
Yeah, that was
Schrader
brilliant.
household.
That was great.
And then later we get obviously him trying to get Jesse to leave the state, by saying, "Oh, it would be great to have a new star. I wish I had a new star." Yeah, but yeah, get that license plate made up for.
Yeah.
I think it's free in New Mexico, but yeah, he always has something obviously behind those motives, behind what he's really
Behind
saying.
these hazel eyes.
Yes, and. But before Jesse can relocate to Alaska with the help of Saul's guy, he finally, I think, pieces it all together, at least about the ricin, and he comes back to see Saul, goes right past through Huel. He was no match for Jesse.
Nope.
And at first I think Saul thinks he's mad for stealing the pot, but actually he's much more angry about the missing cigarette from months ago. Now, if you were Jesse, and you like again, we got to put yourself in those shoes, Mike. If you were in New Mexico, number 2 drug kingpin, and you had the thing of cigarettes in your pocket, would you have pieced it together like he did tonight? Did it finally make sense for Jesse to figure it out tonight?
I believe it. No, I think it makes sense. A lot of people, a lot of fans have been really confused about it based on what I've seen on Twitter. I follow a lot of critics on Twitter.
Yeah.
Alan Sepinwall is posting, I can't remember what site he's at Headfix, I think. He's posting, like, timelines, to help people understand. And it didn't seem like that much of a stretch to me. What happened? Yeah, Huel swiped the pot out so that Jesse couldn't smoke it. And that gave Jesse the memory of when he swiped the ricin.
Yeah.
And even though Walt never used the ricin, it still was what happened, and he took the ricin. So a little contrived. I mean, just because the ricin isn't actually what got used, and it was Lily of the Valley. I think that's where people are getting confused. But it makes sense to me that
He
that
thinks
Jesse,
it's ricin. Yeah, like he doesn't
Well,
know.
no, but Jesse knew after that
yeah?
it was Lily of the Valley, and that's why. And then didn't Walt plant like a fake ricin cigarette with salt?
Oh, yeah,
in this Roomba, but then there wasn't really ricin, but Walt really used Lily of the Valley. But then people were like, so why is he all concerned about the ricin if he knew it wasn't ricin? Well, he just knew that Huel was the one lifting, and that's why it had to be that way. It had to be Huel doing the lifting. So I buy that it got to his head just because he's been so suspicious of Walt. Everything Walt's been saying, he's been very critical of. He knows he killed Mike. He knows all this bad stuff. So I do buy Jesse's motives. I wanted to see the face of the guy that Saul was working. I want it to be like David Cross or something. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, that would have been awesome. That would have been awesome.
That would be the new start. It'd be like Tobias, like have him get in the car and.
Oh my God! I gotta use
the
some
whole
of that
show
footage.
is like a Mr. Show. Oh yeah, insert me anywhere.
Yeah, we gotta use some of that footage and make this video. Oh my
Okay.
God!
Do it.
But no,
Do it before all the people listening do.
yeah. Well, I can control this when this comes out. It's not going to come out for a week because it's going to take me that long to edit this.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I think I buy it too because I think between what you were saying, by him swiping out stealing the pot from Jesse, but also between, the scene before it when they were in the desert and he's finally like, okay, Mr. White, enough of this, you tell me one thing when you really mean something else. Like, I can see through your BS right now.
Right, yeah.
And I think he's finally like, every single thing, like, he's ever done is just starting to crumble because he's like, wait a minute. Maybe he's just overthinking it and was like, wait a minute, maybe that time when I, had the cigarette, maybe that whole thing was this. And like, he just is figuring out this could be this because of that. While it's not fully, cemented in, I think he's kind of just like, okay, I have this theory, and you know what? At this point, it makes sense, and the other theory I did have didn't. So I'm going with this one now. It was Walter. Something's up.
Right, and I mean, and once Saul confirmed it, then then it's gasoline time. Then
Yeah.
he went to it. So it'll be interesting to see. Do you think the house is going to burn down next week? Do you think that's or something? I mean, I can't see it not burning down next week.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I could see it burning next week just because obviously we've seen that house. I mean, that's probably what happened to the house. That's why.
Right, yeah. If that doesn't burn the house down, is there going to be another, like they're going to clean it all up and then it's going to burn down again in the next 5 episodes?
It's weird though, like, I mean, I'll have to rewatch the opening from this season. I didn't see the house like that much of a fire damage. I saw it more like, like something happened. Maybe they just like gutted the house kind of thing. Like, it looked like from the outside it was pretty well intact. There wasn't much fire damage.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense though, because it was the only house on the street to really be, blocked off and parts. So the fire would work. But yeah, in the scope of the show, I would think at least, this was 3 episodes, so we have 5 episodes left, and I mean, probably in 3 episodes, we're gonna finally catch up to these flash forwards. I mean, probably by the second to last or the last episode will be the flash forward. So in these next 3 episodes, that house has to be burned down at some point and have it written Heisenberg or something. Like, we got to get to that soon. So I'm guessing this is how it's gonna happen. Now, do you think this gasoline is the only revenge that Jesse has cooked up, or does he have some Emily Thorne type strategy here where he's just going to, obviously he might tell Hank, but do you have any other tricks up his sleeves that he's going to,
I hope so.
Is he going to do anything to Walt or Jr. or Baby Holly?
But that's the thing. He doesn't know them. I don't know if that's within, but he doesn't have a connection with them, so it wouldn't hurt him. I don't think he's going to hurt them. But I think if he found out about Jane, he might hurt them.
See,
but I don't know. Maybe, but Walt killed a kid. You're right, or hurt a kid.
That's the only thing. Like, even though,
but I can't see Jesse. Jesse wouldn't hurt a kid.
Yeah, see, because obviously Jesse's have had terrible, between Brock and between the kid on the dirt bike.
True.
He would never hurt a kid. It's like. Jesse, in a way, was the father of Brock. I mean, like, he was becoming, like, the stepfather, like, he was getting really close to Brock. He was almost like a kid to him. And then Jesse might want to be like, maybe not, kill him, but just, like, do something to either child to be like, you put me through this, Walt. Now, how does it make you feel? Like, payback's a bitch. Well, actually, we're going to have to bleep that out. I can't believe I just said that on the podcast. But
you're going to say, I always thought I'd be the one who'd swear, and it was you.
But, no, I mean, I hope nothing happens to either child, but, I mean, I think anything's possible at this point. He's holding a gun up to anybody who questions him in Saul Goodman's office. I was scared that we're going to see Saul die so soon, but, whew.
Well, what do you think about the spinoff?
What
do you think this means? I've heard rumors that it might even be a prequel if they do it. So I hope. I mean, it's morbid, but I hope they all go down. I really hope it's just Scarface, like when Walter Jr. watched it and asked, "Does everybody in this movie die?" And it's like, yes, they do. And so I feel like for Breaking Bad, that's the way it's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think I won't mind seeing them all go at the end. I mean, I just love Saul so much that I'm like, oh, we still got 5 episodes. Just make him stay a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But as for the spinoff, I'm not like thrilled about it because spinoffs hardly work sometimes. Sometimes they do. You
Right.
get something like Frasier off of Cheers, but then you also
Mhm.
get the Michael Richards show off of Seinfeld or Joey
Right.
off of Friends.
Right.
So I mean, it's going to be weird, especially if they do make it more of a comedy element. Like if they do it, I hope it is a prequel because I feel like I don't need these just like cameos just for like ratings to spike up. With if Walter makes it, if Jesse makes it, any of these characters make it, that we see them. Like I don't know. Like I hope it's not done, but if Vince is maybe behind it and it holds the same quality as this in the comedy world, if it does what
Right. No, I agree.
but who knows? Oh man, Mike, I don't know, man. This thing flies by. We're about out of time. How did that work?
We didn't even get any guacamole. I've been waiting
still-
here all this time, and no waiter has come to bother me for guacamole.
Yeah.
Where is that guy?
John should just add in like occasionally him asking, like breaking up the podcast at different points. That was just perfect. The juxtaposition of that.
I think he was the MVP of the week, the guacamole guy.
Yep. First week it was Hank. Next week probably Marie or Skylar. This week Guacamole guy. Next week the guy who sold the gasoline to Jesse, which we'll
yeah.
never meet.
Or
It's gonna be-
Tobias. Maybe Tobias
Yeah.
will finally make his
Yeah.
mark.
So that is about it for this week. Make sure you're following us on all the social media aspects that we are on. We got Facebook, we got Twitter at Dual Redundancy. We're on the blog, dualredundancy.blogspot.com, YouTube/Dual Redundancy. We're just all over the internet. Please find us and listen to us because, boy, we would just be happy. Right, Mike?
Yeah, that's our pitch.
Yeah, because we would be happy. If you do listen to us, we will take you out for guacamole in your choice of either Alaska or Miami.
We can't make these promises.
We're not going anywhere else in the country. It's either Alaska or Florida. You take your pick. We will meet you there. We're not paying for your airfare, but you may have to pay for ours. If that doesn't sell you, I don't know what will.
I like it.
One person that may actually pay for your extra guacamole or salsa is John Berwick, who does our sound work. It does all this stuff for us to make it actually possible that two people from different sides of the country can do a podcast talking to each other every week. So thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
This is it's great that you're still doing this, even though you have a life, and obviously we don't, because we're still holding on to something like this.
Well, I was texting John during the episode when because I knew you weren't watching live and I was freaking out, so I had to text John. I was like, "Wait, what happened with the cigarettes? What like we had to talk it through during the commercial break." So John, much appreciated. I think we need him on as a guest for like the finale or something. I think we need a
Sounds good to
three-way
me.
cast.
I mean, who's to say we're not gonna make it till the end of this season, Mike, of this podcast season? One of us might go down in this final season of the Breaking Bad
going
podcast.
down for this.
We might be, man. We might be. But hopefully we'll be back next week for another Breaking Bad episode. And we'll see what happens. Any parting thoughts? Any last confessions, Mike?
Just when I thought I said all I could say, my chick on the side says she's got one on the way. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. That's my confession.